William Blaine Richardson was born in Pasadena, California in 1947.
My father was very insistent that I become an American citizen, and we lived in Mexico. We proudly lived there. My father and mother worked there, but he wanted me to be born in America. So we went exclusively to Pasadena, California. The same with my sister Vesta. My mother was Mexican. She was the secretary of my father, who was the branch manager of a bank in Mexico City, an American bank. And they fell in love. My mother was a lot younger. She was Mexican, and she never, till she died at 97, changed her citizenship and always lived in Mexico. So we were always brought up in two cultures, Mexico and the United States, between two worlds, bilingual, bicultural. I started playing baseball at 10, and I played in this very poor neighborhood. I was a shy kid. I was learning English and Spanish. I didn't know my true identity. Was I an American? Was I a Mexican? I spoke both languages. Baseball paved the way for a shy kid to be accepted.
At the age of 13, Bill is sent to boarding school in Massachusetts, and at first finds difficulty fitting in.
Well, I vividly remember a winter cold day, and there was a batting cage, and the varsity baseball coach said, get that Mexican kid to see if he can hit. And I went up there, and I did pretty well against that machine, and I happened to make the varsity team as an 8th grader.
After boarding school, Bill's dream was of playing professional baseball.
I was a pretty good pitcher, and I wanted to sign with a major league team, and there was interest on the part of several teams. However, my father said, no, you're going to go to college, and that's an order. And that's the last time my father gave me an order, because he died shortly thereafter.
Fulfilling his father's wish, he enrolls at Tufts University. Bill Richardson receives a BA from Tufts University in 1970 and a master's degree from Tufts Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy in 1971. Armed with his diplomas and a newfound interest in politics, he goes to work on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. And by the end of the 70s, he was back in New Mexico with his own political ambitions. In 1982, after a close primary, Bill Richardson is elected to Congress and serves for 16 years.
Being able to work to bring some civil rights to Latinos, finding, protecting environmental lands and water in northern New Mexico, fighting for the land grants, fighting for protecting national parks and wilderness areas and wildlife. That was a great highlight.
In 1997, President Clinton names Richardson U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, and in 1998, he is appointed U.S. Secretary of Energy. In 2002, Bill Richardson returns home and runs for the office of Governor of New Mexico. He wins and serves for 8 years.
I think we really made a difference. We improved Latino education. We found ways to bring a movie industry to the state. We did a lot of renewable energy, solar, wind projects in the state. We created a lot of jobs and a lot of opportunities, and especially in the Latino northern New Mexico. We created some jobs and improved some of the schools and infrastructure there. So I feel that my Latino constituents are responsible for my success.
Throughout his political career, Bill Richardson was sought out by both Republican and Democratic administrations to negotiate tense situations around the world, including the release of American hostages. In 2007, Bill Richardson announces his candidacy for President of the United States, but after the New Hampshire primaries, decides to withdraw. Bill had married his high school sweetheart, Barbara, in 1972.
And she's accompanied me on so many of my political journeys. In New Mexico as First Lady, she was great when it came to issues like domestic violence, immunization. She did it all in a very quiet way and was one of the best First Ladies New Mexico's ever had.
Among other duties, Bill Richardson devotes his time on 2 foundations that he created.
Well, a lot of people ask me, well, what are you doing now? You're out of politics. Well, I'm not really out of politics. I try to be helpful to the president in foreign policy and domestic policy. I do quite a bit of television. I do some teaching. I do some consulting for renewable energy companies. I serve on boards. But I've got 2 foundations that I have out of Santa Fe that are very dear to me.
Bill Richardson created 2 foundations: the Foundation to Preserve New Mexico Wildlife with actor and conservationist Robert Redford, and the Richardson Center for Global Engagement, focusing on conflict resolution diplomacy.
We have some projects where we go in and try to rescue political prisoners, hostages, as we did this Marine in Mexico, as we have journalists in the Middle East, as we have American servicemen in North Korea. So this foundation, the international one, is very important to me. My message to the youth, you have to finish the job. What we don't want is to have everyone say, well, the Latinos, great growth, potential power. There's never a greater burden than a great potential. You have to actually do it and get in there and fight and participate and be in the arena and then win. Maybe you lose a few, but we want all of you to finish the job about our community. Elect the first Latino president. That's doable. I was one of the first to run. I didn't get very far. But maybe one of you in the audience, there's going to be a U.S. senator, a governor, a man or a woman there that is going to make a difference. You can do it. I was able to do it. Determination, honesty, integrity. But fight hard. Don't give up. No se dejen. Sí se puede.